Buckle that belt.
The neighbor is already threatening to call the cops. He's pissed.
If you get anxious, man, you just pop these little guys.
People out here looking like Paul Feinbaum trying to tell us what to do with our hair.
In my overserved state, I went to the wrong
House.
No, it was the right house.
Okay.
Dive bar means the beer is cold, the drinks aren't too expensive, and the hamburgers are great.
They are a unified front in doing their very best to keep me between the proverbial navigational beacons. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith podcast. Wes is in the house, looking very stately in his spectacles.
What's that supposed to mean?
You just
Stately.
You're shaved and you have glasses, I think.
Does that mean that I look like I'm from a certain state?
Clean shaven face, just like
You don't look
chiseled,
I just shaved.
chiseled jaw, absolute poster of physical
I've been
fitness.
chiseling it, man.
And then there's Travis. Hi, buddy. Good morning.
Do I not look stately? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
You look stately. You look like Rhode
I
Island.
don't know if I would go. I don't know if I would go all the way to say stately, but you look very nice and spry.
Okay.
You always have world-class hair.
yeah.
If the three of us were from a state, what state would you guess that we're from? I would guess that Marty is. I would actually probably guess Marty's from North Carolina.
No, I'm
So-
thinking like a Dakota or like a out west somewhere.
A Dakota.
For whom?
For
For
you,
you?
you got the beard, and I mean, but if you go,
Dakota.
south or north, like if I don't hear your accent, I'm thinking, maybe the mountains somewhere.
I don't think anyone's actually from North Dakota. I think they just moved there.
I don't know.
I would have maybe had a Dakota at somewhere around the 48th state that you would have chosen, Travis, but here we are. It's been a couple weeks since we did a show. It's great to be with you boys this morning, and everyone listening. Thank you guys, the thousands of you who invest in what we're doing every week. We appreciate it. Heard from a lot of y'all. Sorry we didn't have a show last week. I was out of the country all week long, so we just didn't have an opportunity to do one. That's on me. But it's been quite a couple weeks here. I have been all over the place, covering college football for ESPN, doing features for a lot of those games and shows, as it were. Spent my entire week in Costa Rica last week prior to flying from Liberia to Atlanta to Memphis to drive to Oxford to be in Oxford for what was a great football game between the Kentucky Wildcats and the Ole Miss Rebels, and Lane Kiffin and the boys prevailed.
Howdy.
Did I see you on the
They are
sideline?
undefeated.
Were you working the sideline for that game? Did I see that correctly?
No, I did not work the sidelines. Just the last couple of segments of the SEC Nation program, they had
You were
us
down
on
there.
the sidelines to do some live reporting because
Okay.
we actually went past the noon break window and all the way right up to kickoff, which was
Okay.
really
I saw
cool.
you with. I saw a video on Twitter with you with Stoops, and I was like, wait, are you doing sideline for that? So I was confused by that.
No, that interview with Coach Stoops was for SEC Nation, live there on the program. And so,
How was Stoops feeling before the game?
I mean, extremely confident. I don't know why you wouldn't. You got a great quarterback who came out and played a little slow at first, and they're a really good football team. Yeah, they lost, but this is a special time for Kentucky football, and I can't wait to see what that Tennessee game looks like. Those are two really special groups, and led
And
by
they're very different.
guys that have really resurrected those programs. And one thing that I love so much about Coach Stoops, I don't know if we've done a show since that piece aired, but a couple of weeks back I went up to Lexington to sit down with Coach Stoops and learn about his path to where he is now. Growing up in Youngstown, Ohio, with his older brothers, Mike and Bob, and both of them, of course, former head coaches at the Power 5 level. Mike was at Arizona for several years, and Mark told me if Mark was still at Arizona, it wouldn't be in the situation it's in now. And, of course, Bob won the 2000 national title at the University of Oklahoma with the Sooners and is just a Hall of Fame coach. So it's an amazing lineage that they have. And, you know, the administration and the athletics department, the athletic director at the University of Kentucky gave Mark time to build a program. It's not something – unless you're Sam Pittman, it's not something that you turn in a day.
He took a program that was down and built it up. And, like, right now I think with the transfer portal and NIL, it's a little like you can jumpstart a program much faster. Like, he did it the hard way, and it took some time. But you're right. Kentucky gave him the time, and I wish other schools would take notice and be like, you got to give a coach more than 3 years to get things going with some of these programs. You can't just – if you keep firing, you're just going to be in a revolving door of failure.
Well, maybe we'll find the right one eventually. I mean, have y'all seen the number of the buyout just for coaches that have been fired this season? $60 million. It's nuts.
I want to be bought out.
It's it really is pretty remarkable. It's so much money. And it's like we saw down at the Little Rock Touchdown Club when Coach O spoke. You know, it's like, okay, you're going to pay me $17.1 million to walk out the door.
Mm-hmm. Which one you want me to walk out of?
How fast do you want me gone? I mean, you want me to leave a tip? I don't know, but I don't blame them.
Leave you a Yelp review?
But it's wild where we are with the sport. Georgia Bulldogs escape, and that is a applicable word.
Win's a win.
They escape Columbia, Missouri, and
they don't put E's on the W and L column, Marty. They put W's and L's.
They do.
They got it.
You guys won.
But I tell you what, though, when you're coming off a national championship, that one close game, you're able to be like, okay, but when you start to rack up these close wins, at some point it's like you got to get it turned on, or else you're going to get got. Like, granted, Ohio State had a very similar. We came out, looked good against Virginia Tech in 2015, and then we had a bunch of these close games, and you don't get it fixed in time, and somebody's going to get you. And right now, I mean, Kent State and Missouri, like, I don't watch Georgia as much as you, Wes, but, like, what's the issue?
I'm not going to bore you all the details of why it happened, but it's a young team, and they can't just show up and win. N'Kobe Dean's not on the team anymore, and they're trying to find these guys that are able to lead in the heat of these games, and a lot of them haven't been in the situation yet. And sometimes you got to be in them to figure out how to manage your way out of them. I'll say Stetson Bennett on the stat sheet had a terrible game, but I was very impressed with what Stetson did in that game. They needed touchdown drives, and Stetson got it together, even though he was rattled by that Mizzou defense. They were in cover 0, man. And I'm not a stats analysis football expert mind, but I do know that cover 0 means we're going to run 11 people into your face mask. And that's what they did to Stetson all night. And he started to feel the ghosts through the second and third quarter, but by the fourth, he straightened up and started to hit some throws. So not a great day on the stat sheet for the mailman, but he did deliver when Georgia needed him to, and I think that's a silver lining for the Dogs.
I didn't see a single down of that game, not one. So I got to go back and watch it. But look, almost every team that makes its way to a special season has those moments where they're going to have to figure out who is going to be the alpha. They're going to have to figure out how they can prevail even when they don't have their best stuff. And the Southeastern Conference is really hard. People could look at this team or that team on paper because they have a 500 record, or they've, speaking of escaping, barely escaping against this team or that team. But that Missouri team was probably extremely pissed off because they gave one away against the Auburn Tigers, and they wanted to they wanted to come out and play really well at home, and nobody. I mean, I don't even know what the line was. Heaven knows what the line was.
I think it was
probably
like 30, 21, 23
It
or
was
something.
too much. It was too much. Yep.
And so, look, it's hard to win in that league. I don't care who you're playing. It's really difficult to win. And we're seeing that. I mean, there are teams that during the preseason some people felt like had an opportunity to have really special seasons who are still working through trying to figure it out. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's I don't know who's going to win the national championship. We're 5 weeks in, right, or 6? 5 weeks in, and
5.
And I know who I think looks good, but
Can
I
we
don't know.
just take a second, Wes? What the hell are you drinking out of a jug of water? Have you ever heard of a cup?
I just grabbed this on my way into the office, man. This is Amelia electrolyte water.
Oh, is that your new water?
My daughter's name is Amelia.
Well, you should get her this water, Marty.
Okay.
She'd really like to.
Is there an
drink it.
airplane on there?
Yeah, it's Amelia Earhart.
Okay. I didn't know Amelia Earhart had a water deal.
She got an NIL water
have had
deal.
people have had a hard time finding it.
What is it?
I understand the joke, Wes.
It is. I don't know, man. She
Travis is just now catching up to the joke, I think.
naturally occurring alkaline water, bottled at the historical Black Creek Aquifer in Saratoga, North Carolina. So,
And where'd you get
That's
that?
what it
Did
is.
you get that down at the QT at the corner of Main Street and 5th in Athens?
no, it'd be Broad Street.
Broad Street. Okay.
No, I just got it at the Publix.
See, I don't.
Is that where you shop for your groceries?
Depends on what I need to get.
Okay.
Kroger's got certain things. Publix has certain things. And sometimes I get a little crazy and go to Trader Joe's. So you really never can tell.
I'm a Publix, Target, and Trader Joe's. And Trader Joe's is hands down, I think, the greatest place for food, especially
fun.
for single guys. It has everything that you could need.
What's that got to
What's
do
that
with
supposed to
anything?
mean?
What
Because-
what do you
I think I
even
know what you
mean
mean.
for
It has-
single
I
guys?
think I
You
know
going
what
there
you
to
mean,
pick
but what
up
do you
chicks?
mean?
Like, what are you talking
for,
about?
For food.
That's what I assumed he meant.
I mean, that's the only that better be the explanation.
The talent at the Trader Joe's.
He really likes going after the ladies down at the Trader Joe's.
I mean, there are pretty ones, but I was talking about the frozen food section, the gnocchi, the Alfredo, lots of things that you can cook on the stove or throw in the oven, and it makes it real quick and easy in small portions. It has everything: mozzarella sticks, fried ravioli. It has.
What is gnocchi?
It's like
It's like a cell phone.
Can you text on that thing, Travis?
you don't know what gnocchi is?
I know
This is why I
what
said
I know
Travis
what
looks like he's
I
from
know
Rhode
what
Island.
gnocchi is. I don't know
No,
where that I don't know what gnocchi is. Is that is that Columb Italian? What are we doing
That's
here?
how it's pronounced, is it not?
Is that Ohio Italian?
I don't think it's pronounced gnocchi, is it?
Ohio Italian?
I thought it was I thought it was kind of like a
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But it is good for single guys, Travis. You're right. There's a lot of junk food that you can justify because it's
not
somewhat
even, it's not
healthy.
even junk food. They have frozen peppers that I use a lot of times when I'm cooking other things and throw in the skillet real fast. It just makes life easy. Now they do have a lot of unhealthy things that are delicious there too.
They're fun for kids too. They have the little miniature grocery carts that the kids can push around.
Oh, do
and-
they? I remember there was
Yeah.
a grocery store when I was growing up. I think it was called Ray's, and they always had the little shopping carts, and it was fun if you could get one of those as a kid.
Yeah.
We had two when I was little. We had Food Line, and then a mile away there was Wade's. Wade's was, I think, I might be mistaken, but I think Wade's was a Western Virginia, Southern West Virginia store, family owned. And on Sundays they had these fried chicken, potato wedge, coleslaw,
Yuck.
fried chicken meals. and my mom would go to the Wades, and she would get these things. And first of all, the chicken was delicious. But it was the potato wedges that made it because they put some seasoning on them. They weren't just a tater wedge. They had some kick to them. And, boy, you put that high fructose corn syrup ketchup on there, buddy, it was ready to go.
The rotisserie chicken has taken over the world, and it's another item that is great for single men. Is just grab the rotisserie chicken, and you got food for 2 days.
Well, Laney, so we love getting the rotisserie chicken over here at the Harris Teeter, but Laney made a new revelation last week. Not only do they have the rotisserie chicken, but they've gone so far as to shred the chicken breast from the rotisserie chicken and box that. So it's so easy. It's already shredded white meat for you to eat.
Wait, I need to.
You can
I
put
did
that
not know
in
they
so
did
many
that.
things.
It's delicious. I mean, you got and it's
Buffalo
like ready to
chicken
go.
dip, sandwiches.
You warm it up with some buffalo sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it in a wrap with some avocado and maybe a little bit of, Mexican cheese blend, and it's as good as you're gonna find, man. And it takes 3 minutes.
You can also, like, on a winter day,
Some salad in
you
there.
get some chicken, you get some noodles, and then just throw the chicken in there. Get some chicken noodle soup. Like, that is, you don't have to do all the work. I need to see if Publix is shredding their chicken then, because that's half the battle.
They probably are.
They probably
think
are.
of
I
a
mean,
lot of that
it's,
stuff.
It's amazing. I mean, I was so excited when I was like, wow, you already shredded the rotisserie chicken. This was the last time I was home, which was, I don't know when it was. I don't remember when it was.
See,
Last
she shouldn't
Sunday?
have told you. She shouldn't have told you that they sell it that way. She should have given herself a credit for that.
That's a good point.
Laney messed up there.
Do y'all talk to the cashier when you check out?
Always.
Do you try to talk to him?
Every single time, yes.
If I go through it, a lot of times you do the self, but yeah, hello, how are you doing? Little back and forth. But the worst part though is a lot of times when you're ending the conversation with them, or like specifically like at the airport when you're buying something, they'll say have a nice flight, or have a good day, and then I'm not thinking, I'll say you too, and they're like
You too.
They're like saying like enjoy your day, and I'm saying
Oh,
you too,
yeah.
and they're like I'm stuck here at work, like then you're like, oh crap.
Enjoy this shredded rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, and they're like, you
too.
too. And you're like, oh
wait,
they're not
that's
getting
mine.
it.
Yeah, that's the awkward you too is that's always a rough one because as soon as you say it, you're like, damn, that was awkward, man. Because they're not, they're not
They
going
get it all the time.
They're not going to go fly today.
They just clocked in. They got eight more hours of work.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere, pal.
The other, speaking of like,
Thanks for rubbing it
talking
in.
to people, I noticed the other thing is when passing somebody, a lot of times both people say, "How are you doing?" and at times nobody responds with the answer to the question.
Yeah.
It's just,
Or they both say good at the exact same time.
yes.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I don't really need to know.
When I was in
Just
Costa
ask 'em.
Rica, I got this ant bite on my
Ooh.
middle toe on my right foot. And my middle toe on my right foot looks like a little sausage. It's like
smoky.
it looks like a Martinsville hot dog.
Put
it's
some dough
nuclear
around it.
pink.
Well,
Yeah,
Big blanket.
I could
some Pillsbury croissant around
seriously,
that thing.
man. It's weird looking. I mean, Laney noticed. I noticed it when I was walking through the airport on Friday night. When I got to Atlanta Airport, we landed in the international terminal, as you might imagine, since we flew from Liberia. And Harry Hawkins,
That's not in the state.
what?
It's not around here.
It's not
Liberia.
a domestic flight, Travis.
I'm aware.
Liberia, Arkansas does not count. So we're walking through the airport. I mean, we're spent, man. We have been busting our hump for 3 straight days or whatever in Costa Rica doing this massive feature, which I'll explain it. It's not going to air for a while. But anyway, we're like, let's get some extra steps. Let's be tryhards here and make our way. We walked from the international terminal all the way to the T-gates at the Atlanta airport.
You didn't take the plane train?
We didn't take the plane train or the moving sidewalk, all right?
What are you doing?
It must have been, I don't know how far it is, but if it wasn't like a mile, if it wasn't at least a mile, I'd be shocked. But probably more than that.
Let me ask you
Let
this.
me explain the plane train to you, Marty. You get in the plane train, and then it takes you right to the T-gate, and you don't have to walk at
Hold
all.
on, let me ask, how much time did you were you catching another flight, or were you done?
I was catching another flight, but
How much time did you have?
I had made my way through customs already. And how about I walk up to customs, and the first thing the guy says is, "Hey, man, my dog's going to get it done."
You ain't transporting any illegal ants, are you? Okay, good. My dog's going to win?
He said it was actually the other way around, Wes. The very first question was not, what do you have in your bag? Do you have any perishable items, firearms? No. My dog's going to get it done. And then when we get through customs and we go to you got to go get your bag and then go back through security to get into the domestic airport. And Harry had checked a bag, so we're going through that next round. And same thing. The guy comes out from behind the metal like the, where you put your bags through?
Yeah.
What do you call that thing?
The X-ray
Conveyor
machine?
belt?
Yeah.
I just call them TSA.
Yeah. TSA guy comes out from behind the thing. He's the guy that is inspecting the stuff. And he's like, "What's up, man? How about them dogs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, they're damn good."
You're like, "How about my
good,
bag?
man."
Is it good?
Oh, I love that.
And it was just really funny. But so we walked all the way from the international terminal to exactly like all the way down to the T-gates. It's as far as you can go. It's the entire airport. And as we're walking, I'm like, man, something's going on my toe.
Insane.
Like there's something feels weird in there. My sock must be bunched up. Have I rubbed a blister? I don't know what's going on. Well, I get to Oxford, Mississippi that night, take my shoe off, and my dang toe looks like a pig in a blanket. I mean, it is nuclear pink and swollen up. And last night, the bite made its way to the surface, and man, it's right beside the nail.
Yeah.
Oh, it's miserable.
Did you know that you'd been bitten?
No. I have bites all over my legs, and I didn't have any idea while I was getting bit. I don't know.
No one warned you, like, hey, watch out for the famous Costa Rica volcano.
We were
It'll
walking
take your
through
toe
the
off.
jungle, man. I mean, the real jungle. This was not like
Did you have a machete?
this was not Animal Kingdom. This was the real thing. And
You'd have a fast pass?
we, man, my legs feel like Braille.
There's a message on your leg.
I mean,
F you
have you
from
put
the
stuff
ants.
on it since?
Hydrocortisone?
Laney has this stuff called Afterbite, and I put on some Afterbite
When do you put that on?
after you get bit.
I used to have, it was like a Benadryl, but it was like in a pen form, like a gel thing. And so like you get a bite or whatever, you just like,
That's what Afterbite is, Travis.
that stuff works.
Like you
You
kind
might have
of
had it.
Or they have
draw
like,
it on there. You kind of paint it on there. It's like this super intense smelling gel that allegedly pulls the sting and or the itch from the boo-boo.
have you ever heard that if you get a mosquito bite, you just draw an X over it and it won't itch?
With what? Like a
Your
Sharpie?
fingernail.
No, I never heard of that.
Well, I know that Laney has, I think she draws a square around it or something. Like you poke it.
Your cootie shot.
You poke
Circle, circle, dot, dot.
your way around the bite.
Speaking of things we need to talk about, though, you sent us a video. I forget when you shot this, but you were down in Alabama doing some racing.
So, as you guys know, I have an awesome relationship with Academy Sports and Outdoors, and everybody down there. I love that place. I love being affiliated with them. And we do all this content. We have a franchise called Traditions, and I'll just take a minute and tell you about it. So the very first one that we did for the new season, which came out on Wednesday, however many days ago that is now, I went down to Stevenson, Alabama, you know, a small town in Alabama where they have this dirt track, like quarter-mile dirt track or something, and flat track, and these guys show up there and they spend an entire day racing lawnmowers. Now, these are not your standard snapper. These things are souped-up racing machines that look like you're riding lawnmower, kind of. I met this guy, Mark, who is a former dirt late model racer. I mean, he might still be, but I know he has a bunch of dirt late models and used to race them a lot before he was diagnosed with cancer. And so as he's making his way through his cancer recovery, he can't race his late model, but he came to one of those dirt races. He attended one of those dirt races and was like, dude, I got to get my fix. So he goes out and gets an alcohol-fueled lawnmower that goes.
They use Tito's, or what kind of alcohol do they use?
Like 100 mile an hour, this thing. He tells me when we get there, I didn't know I was going to race the thing. They surprised me with the fact that I'm going to race it. And so I'm looking at this thing, and it's a racing machine. I mean, if you were mowing your lawn with that thing, you'd be done in 6 minutes. And so I get on it, and it was a very hot day. This was months ago when we shot this thing. And it was a very hot day, so the racetrack was really dry and very dusty. And I get on it, and I can't stop spinning it out because it has way more power than the racetrack conditions. It was more power than the racetrack conditions could kind of handle.
Need a restrictor plate.
And so, well, I didn't really need a restrictor plate. I needed talent, and I didn't have that. And so I'm going down in the corner trying to massage this thing through the corner and get power back to the ground off the corner, and I'm just continually mismanaging that fine line, that ratio. I stepped over and no matter how much I tried. But it was so fun, and the best part about it, and this is what I love so much about Academy, we find these stories, whether they're fishing stories, whether they're hiking. There's one coming up here. I went up to Lexington, Kentucky, and participated in this Ultimate Frisbee experience with the University of Kentucky Ultimate Frisbee team. All of these events and exercises and experiences that we do are so community driven. I love the camaraderie of them. And racing is such an awesome family. It's fun to see young kids working on those machines and then going out and racing them. They're learning it from the ground up, which I have particular appreciation for. And there was a moment where there was a guy who needed a part and didn't have the part and was going to have to load that thing back up and drive home. And the other competitors were like, no way, dude, here. Gave it to him. So he was able to race that day. And that is racing. And you find that at short tracks all over this country at every level, whether it's a street stock, whether it's a mini stock, whether it's a late model stock car, at Saturday night racetracks all over this country. They fight each other to win, and sometimes with fists. But when it comes down to it, if somebody has an issue, if somebody is going through something personally, that is a family that's there for them. And that's what I felt in Stevenson, Alabama. It was really cool. And Mark had us to, the kind of backstory, Mark had us over to his bar. He has a bar, I don't know, like 20 minutes away from where we raced. And we go in that bar, and it was exactly the kind of place I knew it was going to be. It was a cool jukebox with 1980s country music on it, 90s country on it. It was really good cold beer, and it was pool tables. I'm positive that they had a cigarette machine, which y'all know how I am about that. Even though I've never had a single cigarette in my mouth, there's something really cool about those old school cigarette machines that you pull out the lever and you shove the lever back in and you pack a Marlboro Reds, falls out. I love that mess. And So Mark showed us a lot of great hospitality. We ate there. The food was phenomenal. But Stevenson, Alabama, it was awesome,
I'm
man.
watching the video right now. It looks like Mario Kart. You're spinning everywhere.
It's kind of like Mario Kart. I mean, you're dodging
What is
a lot
it, a
of
Honda,
things.
John Deere, a Husqvarna?
this
What are
thing
you out there?
The one that he was driving, Mark spent over $18,000 on this lawnmower.
Right.
This thing is not a just like put some tires on it and this thing is
it's
souped up.
It's legit. Marty in the 9 car, of course.
Yep. They put my number on the side.
Sweet racing jacket.
It was really cool, man. Mark had some Dale Earnhardt Jr. skeleton hand racing gloves that he let me wear.
Well, I was gonna say, you've always been said that you look like Dale, and from afar, I think if Dale gets into the acting area and he needs a stunt double, you could do that, because from afar there was one angle where it looked like Dale was standing there. So I think that could be your future. If you need someone to spin out and not look good at racing, you could fill in that spot for me.
Well,
easily.
Dale is a mighty handsome man, Travis.
Very kind of you, Travis.
How nervous were you though? Because you raced against 3 12-year-olds.
I was really
these
nervous
kids
at
look-
first because I drew the pole. They draw for the starting lineup, and I had the pole position. I was going to start on the inside of the front row, and I was like, what if I go down here in the corner and spin out and I just wad up the whole field? Because you could, if you were not the leader, you could not see. It was so dusty. It was impossible to see, and so we made the executive decision for me to start shotgun on the field instead, so that I could kind of feel my way around. And then starting shotgun on the field, you can't see. So I just had to get up out of the groove and try to see. And there were a couple real close calls. Like there, two lawnmowers spun out in front of me, and I had to make an evasive maneuver.
You did. You dodged right to the right of it. I just watched it.
You needed
I
a
didn't ass
spotter.
pack anybody. But
Well, the kid on here in the all black is just a badass. He's like Speed Racer out here.
well, there's those kids are talented, man, and I mean they have huge dreams. Those guys want to go cup racing someday. And
Well, that's what it took. It took me back when you were. I forget the gentleman that you're talking to, and he started tearing up talking about his son, and he said he's got it. It's this is more than I think. People that watch it at first are lawnmower racing think it's just this fun little thing. It means a lot to these people.
Yeah, and it ain't cheap. I mean, these parents are. You got to think about what it costs. I mean, Travis just said it. Mark is certainly an extreme case. Spending almost $20,000 on something you go race, on dirt and on a Saturday afternoon in nowhere, Alabama is crazy. Not everybody has that same type of equipment or the opportunity or the financial means to go get that equipment, but they're all sacrificing because, I mean, I was walking through the paddock, through the kind of tuning area, and there was a trailer, and first thing I noticed was a huge number 3 flag all the way down the side of this trailer, the inside wall of the trailer. And so, of course, I was intrigued and walked over there and asked the guy how much it would cost me to come off the hip to take that home with me. And he politely declined. But this was a family from Missouri, and they drive around so that their son can race these things, and they work on them, and they work on them as a family. And, mom's over there making sandwiches, and dad's turning wrenches, and Junior's turning wrenches, and they go a lot. I mean, think about it. That's their weekends as a family. And there's something really beautiful about that, too. There's something beautiful about driving around the country together, dragging a race car, seeing the world together. And then you inject the beauty of competition and the lessons of competition into that equation. And I mean what a rich way to live for that family. Now, I imagine they're stretched because it is not cheap to put tires on any racing vehicle. It's not cheap to make sure that it's a competitive piece. No matter what you're racing, it costs money. And so, just really cool to me. I think that it's just
I don't
a
know if you've
beautiful
watched,
culture.
Drive to Survive, but I think that series shows in such a great way the detail of all these F1 drivers' pasts and how many of their parents gave up their whole life to invest in their kids. And that's not just racing, but certainly racing at that level and in a lot of sports these days too, man. These parents, if your kid has it, you got to hop on that ride with them if you can.
Well, with travel ball now, I mean, it's a very common refrain for a lot of parents these days, because the days of growing up like we did, where you were very insulated in the town in which you grew up and you played football in the fall and basketball in the winter and baseball in the spring all the way through the summer, right back to two-a-days, that doesn't exist anymore. I love the thought of a multi-sport athlete. I think it just is such a rich experience for the person. But anymore, I mean, by the time you're 12 or 13, a lot of young people now are going, I'm chasing football. I'm chasing basketball. I'm playing baseball. And they're playing that sport 350 days a year.
What's crazy, though, is you have these people that are giving up on the other sports at a young age, but then if you go up and down a college roster in football, let's say, the amount of players that were two-sport athletes in high school outnumber the single sport, yet for some reason we have people quit in sports at a young age. It's one thing if LeBron James gave up football after his junior year of high school. Understandable why he gave up football then. So if you give it up in high school, I can see why if you see a path. But when you're 12, 13, I mean, they should be staying in all those sports because it's going to benefit them.
Well, what do we hear from so many coaches that say, like, at the college level, I loved Trayvon Walker because I watched him play basketball and I knew that he was special in that arena. Like, it is something that is important, and I wonder about that. I wonder about losing that edge, losing those other skills and cross-training, about what it'll do to the game in so many different sports.
Even above that, it's like hanging out with your buddies. I mean, it's building those amazing memories with your buddies that are your football teammates. But
it becomes a job at a young age.
All them dudes are like, man, I'm playing hoops. Come play hoops.
Yeah.
And I just there is so much benefit from experiencing all those different competitive arenas, and not just one. But I get it. I mean, these days, did I just hit mute?
Nope, we got you.
Okay. Anytime I adjust this microphone, it like blinks at me, and I think I've hit that mute button.
Back to the lawn mowing, though. Were there any zero-turn radius lawnmowers? I want to see someone try to
Seems
race
like
one of
it would
those.
be a mistake.
Why not? I think you could do some serious drifting and stuff on those puppies.
Could do some donuts, maybe in the parking lot or something. Maybe that's a separate competition.
I feel like what I was driving was as close to zero turn as you could get, Travis, because I did a whole lot of spinning out.
My lawn mowing experience was short-lived because
you didn't have to mow your yard as a kid?
No. So I tried, and the lines were not up to my dad's standards, so I quickly was fired.
So is your dad like super neurotic lawn guy?
Oh yeah, he's like, if he mows it this way 1 week, the next week it's got the line, you got to mow it the other way,
and why does he do that?
Because it's good for the grass and it looks good, and so like I think I mowed like 3 times in my life, and then I was like, all right, you are not mowing it good, like you're.
And he just took that push mower right out of your hands, huh?
No, we had a rider.
You had a riding mower?
Yep.
I remember 8th grade basketball. We did a fundraiser. We did a car wash as a fundraiser. And the jeweler in town, Mr. Dowdy, Eddie Dowdy, Dowdy's Jewelers.
Come on down to Dowdy's.
Had a 19, I'm guessing 88, 87, 88, 89, old box body Mustang 5.0 convertible that was teal.
Ooh, Mr. Dowdy.
Mr. Dowdy had paper. No damn body else had paper, but Mr. Dowdy had paper.
And he let you know, too, with that deal.
Well, that's where every engagement ring from Newport to Parisburg to Nares was bought at Dowdy's Jewelers.
Let me guess, every high school graduation ring was bought there, too.
Yeah, Jostens, baby.
Yes.
Get you some. I got to wear my state ring on here one time just to go full Buddy Garrity on you guys.
I'm surprised
Wes is looking for his right now.
I got it. Yeah, I don't have a state ring. I wish.
I don't have a state ring, but when I was
got a class
12
ring.
years old for my I guess Pop Warner football team, I was voted Mr. Bruin. My team was the Bruins, and so I still have like a medal. And
You were Mr. Bruin?
Yeah.
What's it take to be?
Why
Mr.
didn't you tell us
Bruin?
this sooner, man? I'd introduce myself. Hi, Mr.
I
Bruin.
bring it
I've
up all
known
the time.
Travis for how long have we known each other? 5-7 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
And we've been talking today for 40 minutes, and I'm just now learning you were Mr. Bruin.
What the hell,
Yeah.
dude?
It wasn't the best player. It was more of like the MVP. So like that's what I got. When we won the city championship that year.
What position were you?
What do you think I played?
You played center.
Yep.
And what
knew
made
it.
you Mr. Bruin?
I just did it all. I was just listen, they couldn't
Selfless.
if like in blowout games they would try to like move players around to get them carries and stuff. They couldn't take me off center because nobody else could do it.
You're just consistently snapping that
Like
ball.
in the city championship, I kid you not, there was one series where me and the nobody knew like the play. It was just the quarterback would come up and like tap left or right and silent count, and we would just QB sneaks left and right a bunch.
So Travis, so you guys were an under center team.
Oh yeah, always under center, never out of shotgun.
Okay. Pro set, baby.
this
We're
was-
going pro style offense
This
here.
was Woody Hayes
As
football.
Larry Munson used to say, we're in an eye.
3 yards
At every play.
3 yards
Yeah.
caught of dust.
No duh, Larry. Every team
Full
is in the
back.
eye.
Yeah,
It's 2002.
yeah. We beat the Panthers to win it all,
The Bruins won the city championship over the Panthers.
and we had Ohio
And
State
Mr.
colors
Bruin,
too,
number
yeah.
63.
No, 43.
At center?
Travis was on page 3B of the sports
Did you play
section.
linebacker too or just center?
No, DB,
What position?
defensive back,
What position?
corner.
Star, nickel, corner,
Okay.
safety. What were you?
You were a center and a corner. That's a hell of an athletic feat. There's not a whole lot of individuals in the history of man since they made the football out of pigskin.
Yeah, when it
that
was a
there's been a
round
guy
ball,
who
that was
played
just a
cornerback,
gut.
who was a lockdown Rockhold Travis Island. We've heard of
Travis
Revis
Island.
Island, but have you heard of Travis Island?
I don't know much about.
Only the city of Columbus knows Travis Island.
I don't know much about lockdown because I'm
Build the statue.
in the city.
Ask the Panthers about Travis Island.
But
They still don't talk
no,
about
because
it.
if you want to ask the kid named Dathan Lyles for the Panthers in the championship game, this boy. I was short. I went into high school at 4'11", so imagine how short I was as 12-year-old.
You're kidding me.
No,
Are you taller than I am now?
No, I think you still have me.
So you're like what, 5'11", something
No,
like that?
I'm like just at 6 feet.
Okay.
But like
Yeah.
when I was 12 years old, I could barely make the minimum weight to play. Wow. And so but this kid Dathan, he ran my ass over. He had the ball. I tackled him, but it was like I went backwards, just holding on to him.
Reminds me of my Cornell Wesley story. We were my senior year of high school, we were really damn good. And Radford High School was really good. And we went over to Radford to play the Bobcats. And they had a tailback named Cornell Wesley who if Cornell wasn't 200 pounds, I'd be shocked.
Cornell Wesley.
Cornell, I don't know if Cornell went on to play college football or not, but this dude was a dude. And so they had first down and 97 yards to go. I mean, we punted or something and pinned them deep, or they fumbled a kickoff. I don't know. But it's first and forever. And they run old school, off tackle, right. And Foster Ridpath hands the football off to Cornell Wesley. Or maybe toss sweep, one of the two. And I feel the hole. I am going to knock the crap out of Cornell Wesley. And I hit Cornell Wesley in that hole. And I mean, it was a pop, dude. And I laid on my back and looked over my shoulder and watched Cornell Wesley go 80 yards for a touchdown. 95 yards. I mean, he ran. I was a speed bump. And guess how much I weighed when I graduated from high school?
145.
38. It also makes me think about being on the Parisburg Lions when I was in 4th grade and weighed a popcorn fart. And if you were 135 pounds, which I think so our Little League football went 4th grade to 7th grade. Think about that. Think about the difference between being a 4th grader and a 7th grader. So all the big boys, I think it was 135 pounds or more, They took black electrical tape
Put on your helmet.
and made a huge X on both sides of the helmet as a warning sign that you're about to get mauled like one of the Bruins from the Columbus City League.
Lima.
Dude.
I still have my helmet from when I played.
Of course
man.
you do. You're Mr. Bruin.
What, was it leather?
No, no. It looks like a Ohio State helmet. Only the face mask was black.
That's pretty sick.
Did they put Buckeye? Were you guys you were the Bruins?
No, yeah, no stickers, but everything was. I actually still have a jersey too. I need to bring it down to Nashville. Need to put my helmet on my desk.
I don't know if you should do that, but it is pretty cool that you're Mr. Bruin. You're like Voldemort to all those Panthers. They don't even say your name anymore.
Hey,
What?
go ahead, Travis. This will be
I want
good.
to see what Wes. Do you have a football story from back in the day?
Well, I could not play Little League football. I had some issues with my brain, and you may have gathered that if you've listened to this.
I was going to
podcast
ask, have
for
those
long
been
enough.
remedied now that you're 35?
No, and then I had too many concussions in high school, so it was a constant theme. But forgot what I was saying. But high school football. There was a kid that was slight of build. He was probably Travis's size, and I'm not going to say his name on the show today. But he
Why
went
not?
out for football. Well, you'll find out.
Okay.
He went out for football because he saw another kid in our class, and he said, "Oh, that guy's a linebacker. Based on my size, I think I could probably play cornerback." Well, the kid in our class was actually indeed not a linebacker. He was also a cornerback. So this automatically made this gentleman who decided to join our team the smallest person on the team. And one day, our starting running back, who had a lot of D1 looks, offers, all the above. This is 5A football in the state of Georgia in 2007, 2006. That's as big as it got. Now we got 7 classes. Well, he has a very similar experience as you had, Marty, against that running back, and I don't know if anyone's heard from him since. He just got cleaned up, and it was tough to watch, and I think someone should have done a better job warning him, but you can't make decisions about joining a football team based on, who you think someone else, what position you think they're playing.
Who was
it can
this
get you
running
in a lot of
back?
pain. What's that?
Who was the running back? Is it a name that we would know?
Well, no, he never
Never materialized?
materialized. So, but Rock Robinson was our guy.
What a great
He was-
name. Was he
yeah,
the
Rock-
inspiration for Coffee Town?
Part of it. That name, no doubt.
Rock
No doubt.
Robinson is a Coffee Town. That's definitely a Coffee Town left guard. Oh, Rock Robinson. He's got a.
Rock Robinson. Yeah. No, Dowdy's Jewelers probably sponsored the first down.
I never
Moving
finished
the
my
chains with Dowdy's Jewelers.
I never finished my Eddie Dowdy story.
Yeah, go
So
back
we
to
did
Dowdy.
this. We did this car wash, and Mr. Dowdy brought his 5.0 Mustang, and all of us were like, it was glowing. Ah, we ain't ever seen. We don't see cars like that. So we washed the car, and he is very particular, which I get now. At the time, I didn't know any better, but I guess he had like a clear coat on the Mustang, and then I think his rims had some sort of clear coat on them or something. We had a tire brush, like a scrub brush, and he said, "Only touch the tires. Do not use that on the rims."
Oh, no.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dowdy. What's the first thing that happens?
Someone touched
One of the damn knuckleheads uses it on the rims or whatever. All I know is this is all I remember from the second Mr. Dowdy said don't touch the rims. All I remember is him coming back because we did a terrible job. He's like, "Y'all suck. You need to do this again. This is shoddy work. You got to do better." So we're like, "Oh, all right." So we
I'm not giving you kids a dime.
I mean, I tell you, I think Mr. Dowdy was half crazy that he even brought his clear coat Mustang to a bunch of 8th graders
Yeah, that's on him. That's
to
not on y'all.
wash the car. I mean, Dude.
Yeah, you bring your Hyundai Elantra to get it washed.
Right. You bring the Hyundai Elantra that's stuck in the garage with the broken tow arm. Like, good Lord.
Yeah, you don't bring your nice car. Listen, the kid screwed up, but that's
Yeah.
we'll
Oh,
feel you on
Mr.
his
Dowdy
side.
had some questionable marketing decisions, it sounds
Hey.
like.
Speaking of being Mr. Bruin, I watched a movie last night with my daughter called Wonder. Have y'all seen this movie?
I have not.
No?
Have not heard
Can't
of it.
say that I've seen
Man, it really touched me. Big time.
Okay.
It's
what happened?
It's about Julia Roberts is in it, and what's the guy's name?
Richard Gere.
No, that's a different Julia Roberts movie.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Yeah, that's it. And they play the parents of this little boy who had some complications at birth and had some facial deformities and had to go through all of this surgery just to kind of build his face. And it walks through the decision for this little boy to go to middle school. He'd been homeschooled because of his appearance. And
He's got Treacher-Collins syndrome.
okay. And so
I've watched this movie now that you mention it. Yeah.
he goes to middle school, and it's all about all of the dynamics, the social dynamics of middle school, which are so hard. I don't care who you are. Middle school and high school are not always easy when it comes to the social aspects of those arenas. And man, this little boy, he struggled at first. He was being picked on. He was being bullied, et cetera, and it took one. It took one guy. It took one guy to decide, I'm going to be that guy's friend.
Yeah.
And what happened, because the one young man made the decision to be, the character's name is August. They called him Augie. He decided to be Augie's friend, and everything that came from that. And at the end of the movie, I was genuinely crying because I was so emotionally moved by the power of kindness.
I actually saw a TikTok of the movie, and I want to say, I could get the quote wrong, but I think a principal said, he can't change how he looks, but we can change how we look at him.
Yep. Yep. It's a beautiful thing, man. I don't know when the movie – I know that Julia
2017.
Roberts has a Kinko's reference, which I don't know if Kinko's even exists anymore, so that kind of gave away the date. When was it, Wes?
2017. I just
Okay.
looked it up on IMDb, and yeah, they got the trailer playing up here at the top. I'm about to bust a damn leak in my eyes right now too.
It's
Remembering.
I highly recommend, as a family, if you have kids that are in high school or middle school. Lainey and I were explaining to Mia. We were watching it with Mia, and she was inquisitive why we got so emotional about it. And when you're watching it from the parental perspective versus the kid perspective, Mia's in that exact window right now. And so, she's experiencing some of those things personally. But when you see it from a parental perspective and all you want is the absolute best, most magical experience for your kids, and you know that they're hurting, and you want to do everything you can to strong arm and influence their lives into a magical experience, but you just can't, because the parental condition is one of guidance and hope. But so much of it, when they get to middle school and forward, is out of your control. And it's just a really beautiful message, man. I was really moved by it big time. I highly recommend y'all watch it with your kids.
Cosign.
Speaking of racing in Alabama, I wasn't the only guy. The Cup Series was there at Talladega Superspeedway, and that siren was ringing down there in Dawsonville as our brother Chase Elliott won at Talladega in an unbelievable finish, just ahead of Ryan Blaney, and we are headed to Charlotte for the Bank of America Roval 400, a race that Chase Elliott has won in the past, which was one of the coolest burnouts ever. I don't know if you guys have seen this. But Chase did a burnout, jumped up on top of his race car, forgot to put the car in gear, and he used it as a surfboard.
Well, if you remember, Marty, he wrecked there at the beginning.
Yeah,
of the
drove it
race.
straight into turn one fence.
We were at that race because it was person won a trip to go to that race and drink with you and McGee, and we drank a lot.
It really fun. We had a blast, and that was a great race. It's always a great race.
It's
the
a fun
road
one
courses.
to watch.
Road courses in the Cup Series these days are some of the most physical, high energy races that we have in the Cup Series, and so this one's going to be no different. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, A.J. Allmendinger, those guys are all going to be players when we get to the Roval this weekend. If you guys have not been and you live in the greater Charlotte area or you haven't seen a road course race, get your tickets now because so much is on the line. And this one is always a thrilling finish. The Bank of America Roval 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. All right, that is the Marty Smith podcast for this week. Go watch Wonder. Go check out the NASCAR race, and college football is drunk. We appreciate y'all. Have a great one. Travis, thank you. Wes, thank you. Everybody be good. Thank you so much to our law enforcement officials all over the country working so hard to keep our community safe, fire and rescue. Amazing, amazing, amazing what you guys do every single day. Thank you for your service to the community and the United States military. We are free because of your sacrifice. Thank you so much to our teachers. Thank you for helping us raise up the youngins. Back to that movie Wonder just a minute. The teacher character in that movie is an angel. Go watch that movie.
Can I add the line workers that all are going down to Florida and help trying to restore that and the power? Do you see how many trucks were just waiting to get down there to help out?
Absolutely. Need to mention everybody that was affected. Holy cow. Everybody that was affected by Hurricane Ian. All of you folks down in Florida. The governor says it's going to be a years-long recovery process. It certainly looks that way. We're thinking of y'all. Hope we can help in some way. If you guys can help, go to redcross.org and donate. Well said, Travis. Thank you, guys. Have an awesome week. This is the Marty Smith Podcast at Outsider.